between the Yidden, the decision of Hashem to give the Yidden the Torah, and the Kibbutz should be in Achtus, one could have Pnimis Matan Torah. And the idea of unity is the inner point of Matan Torah. Hainu, what does that mean? That unity is the inner point of Matan Torah. Shekol Ribi Proti Achaim Cholechad Vechad Yisrael. All the multiple details of the life of every single Yid Chadurim Binyan Echad is permeated with one aspect, Torah. Not only is it permeated, is every aspect of a life of a Yid permeated with Torah. They're also all aspects of the creation, which has multiple levels to it, is also permeated with one idea, which is Torah. Kanal Baruch, like the Rebbe spoke earlier at length. In this idea of the unity and the unifying aspect of Torah that the Yidden express, this is expressed in the job of the women in how they run their household. The home should run the way it's supposed to be run. It's necessary that between all the members of the household there should be oneness. Like the same expression like Chazal used concerning the encampment of the Yidden, the same thing has to be in a Jewish home, like one person with one heart. The Protis, Yosef, more specifically, each and every one of the members of a household has his unique purpose and mission. The head of the house, it has to be concerned about supporting the household with a living, and to teach the household Torah. And then the Rebbe says that doesn't mean that women are excluded from the idea of Torah. And to note the very idea of Torah study is anyway to be found by women, and specifically the halachas have to do with the kashrus in the home, and the illumination of the home, Shabbos, Yom Tov, Shabbos and Yom Tov candles, also the cleanliness and purity of the home, taras mishpacha, family purity. There are primary four things that were given in the hands of the woman who's the Akeres Habayis. And these are the three pillars upon which the household stands. When the house is a standing appropriately, so the whole world is standing appropriately. So therefore, what's the meaning when we say that the husband is primarily involved in this Torah study? It's the job of the husband is to add in the depth of the Torah, etc. So to the children, the sons and daughters, fulfill their jobs and their roles in their unique way, with sincerity, with passion, with excitement. Therefore, though the husband fulfills his mission and his role in his matters, and the woman in her matters, in seemingly different and distinct matters and things that they're involved in. Specifically through the differences between them, each one complements the other. Each one fulfills and fills a role that the other needs, and vice versa. So to the children and their role. They complement their parents through causing delight to their parents. All of this in the two explanations in what hashlama means. Aleph, hashlama is a chaser, filling a lack. Beis, melosh, and shleim is another expression from the word perfection, completion, shleimus, b'milah, shlichus shel hakeres habayis. They add, the children add perfection in the hakeres habayis, fulfilling her mission, b'milah shlichus shel habayis, and they add perfection in the head of the household doing what he has to do. Ad l'shleimus Am Yisrael kulei, till they add to the perfection, completion of the entire Jewish nation. The effect of unity that takes place in the individual home through the Akeres Habayis also influences concerning her influence in the world. When you go out into the world, when you're involved in worldly matters, then we meet up with different influences and different types of people. Therefore, a wonder arises. How is it possible to withstand all the tests and to remain in a state of unity, like one person with one heart? And the response to this is according to what we said earlier. If the atmosphere in the home is how much more so the activities in the home. They're permeated with love of another Yid and the unity of Yid. And this atmosphere is felt in the house forever, all the time. Until you actually even breathe this in during sleep. Therefore, immediately when they arise from sleep, and he thinks into what's going on around him, he immediately sees and senses and feels the unity of Yidden. Even when one goes outside the house. And outside the house, there is a storm, there is things that are seemingly not in concert with this type of activity. And we meet up in the world in such type of world that it's felt seemingly the exile. So the exile of the outside of the house does not affect us whatsoever. Because the going outside is because we are going out of a home, a Jewish home, that is permeated with the love of another Yid and the unity of the Cholza totally be ikir ba'akeres habayis, and all of this is dependent primarily in the mainstay of the home and the wife. Though the way she acts is appropriate and corresponding to the directives that her husband brings from yeshiva or koil, etc. How is this actually done in the house? How is this actually fulfilled? Who actually brings this out in the home? It's through her. She is the true head of the household. She is really the one that's running the household. But she is the one that makes the spirit of unity in the house, the atmosphere of unity in the house. And through that, she affects unity in the entire world, like we said before. In such a manner, she educates her daughter. Even a very small child, that was just now born, that when the time comes, also she will be able to fulfill at the holy mission to build a home. Should be permeated with love of another Yid. You should love your fellow yourself. Should permeate be permeated with oneness of Yidden. Through breathing inside of her the atmosphere and air of unity. Because breathing is something necessary every moment. The Mela, therefore, when the home is permeated with a spirit of unity, she will breathe every moment in the unity that's in the atmosphere of the home. And therefore, when she goes outside, and afterwards, when she marries and builds her own home, she will bring over there the atmosphere and the air of love of another Yid. Until the two homes will be like one house, both in the same way, in the same unity, in the same one. This is therefore the great mission, the Ima, and it's a pleasant mission, and a luminous mission, that was placed upon every single one of the Jewish women. Through Moshe Rabbeinu, as representing Hashem, he placed this on the women. This wasn't something that Moshe Rabbeinu decided on his own to do. Because the Shechina speaks out of the throat of Moshe Rabbeinu. So when he did this, he was doing this as Hashem's messenger. To prepare the entire nation for the giving of the Torah, through the idea of unity and oneness, until affecting unity and oneness in the entire world. And this avoida is an appropriate preparation for the coming of Mashiach. Then when Mashiach comes, Eretz Yisrael will expand in all the lands. This means that the Jewish people affect and influence. The entire world should be Eretz Yisrael. Through the fact that Yisrael will expand, it will affect and transform the nation to be like it. The preparation is through actually doing this. The main thing is action. The avodah of Jewish women fulfilling their mission and role, along with the empowerment to fulfill this mission perfectly, out of joy and gladness of heart. How there needs to be the avodah, every type of avodah of Hashem. Allah has come, how much more so, avodah the tavdin al kimal. If every type of avodah has to be out of joy and goodness of heart, gladness of heart, so surely the avodah of Matan Torah, that you will serve Hashem at this mountain. It's the beginning of the birth and raising up of the Jewish people as a nation, a special nation from all the nations that have earth. Like it's related in the Torah, like we said earlier, it's an everlasting lesson in a clear way, in an illuminated fashion, along with an empowerment to be able to do this. But and this is even more so. We gather together. And a woman assists her fellow. The frat, and especially so. The basic that this gathering of the women takes place in Shul, a miniature Migdash, place where one davens, where people study Torah, and they give tzedakah. Surely Hashem benches every single one of the participants in the convention, the gathering. They should be successful in their avodah. Ubechlolus in general, the success is losses the base not proti lebay shakadosh baruch hu omer lo v'shkanti b'soichem, to make their own individual home, to a home that Hashem says about it, I will dwell amongst them. A migdash ma'at, a miniature migdash. Asher zoi gam ha'achona, this is also a preparation, shebekarim niska lebin beit mikdash pshutoi, that speedily we will merit the building of the base of Mikdash in a simple sense. Mikdash adne koinu yidech, and the Mikdash of Hashem, your hands will prepare. Shenivnai de'akadosh baruch hu ba'atzmi, built through Hashem himself. V'lachein, because Hashem himself is building it, hareu bayis nitzchi, it's an everlasting house. Shebonu mishukul l'maylo, it's already built up and ready and prepared in Shemaim. It's just waiting to come down. So what's the delay? Hashem awaits that the Yidden should complete their last service in the final work in the days of Golus. Then immediately they are redeemed. Speedily in our days, mamish, like an eye blink. Then will be also fulfilled the promise that was established as the motto of this convention that took place over there in Tafshin Memvav in 1986. That there's a reward for your actions, and your children will return to their boundaries, to their land. All the Yidden return to their true boundaries. Eretz Yisrael, land that Hashem's eyes it constantly from the beginning of the year until the end of the year. Yerushalayim and HaKodesh, Beis HaMikdash, and the holy city of Yerushalayim and the Beis HaMikdash. So now the Rebbe is going to go on in this pasuk and analyze this pasuk that we just now quoted about yes, if we could add this pasuk that's established as the motto of the convention. There is a lesson and directive and a teaching in regards to everything we said earlier. Let's preface it. This promise, there's a reward for your actions, and your children will return to their boundaries. Nitna Yirmiyahu was given by Yirmiyahu Hanavi. Why is Yirmiyahu Hanavi called Yirmiyahu? Because he said many prophecies about the bitterness of Golus. Yeshaya Hanavi Yeshua, as opposed to Yeshaya Hanavi, that's called in the word salvation. The voice of being Yeshua, the content of his voice is concerning salvation of the Yid. I should add some the very fact that a Yid finds himself in exile, children that have gone into exile from upon their father's table, that itself is the most thing, like the Rebbe is going to explain as he goes on. This means to say, surely the life of a Yid, even in the time of exile, has to be good and pleasant, both materially and spiritually. And surely Hashem will make this so successfully in actuality. Despite it being pleasant in spiritual and material matters, the very fact that he finds himself in exile, even when he merits all the blessings, he feels in everything an aftertaste of the bitterness of Golus. Since because of our sins, we have been exiled from our land. Beis HaMikdash, part of the Beis HaMikdash is destroyed. It's the same our signs we have not seen. The world is trembling. And there's winds that are blowing around, that not all of them are positive winds. All Yehudi Lachshav, a Yid could think, it would be best if he wouldn't pay attention to what's going on in the world. So he should lock himself up in his house. In his house, there's light and warmth that are permeated in the love of a Yid and the unity of Yid. Al Kach Eimer Yirmiyahu Navi, but this Yirmiyahu Navi responds, Yeshchar Lepulosech V'Goymer V'Shavu Ban L'Gvula. There is a reward for your actions, and your children will return to their boundaries. So what does this mean? The intention of the bitterness of Golus is to transform it to good, like the Lashon of the Zohar, transformation of bitter to sweet. But just the opposite. One has to use the bitter exile to prove the great quality of the Yid. Regardless of the fact that the world is trembling and moving, skip the brackets. Instead of a person helping out their fellow through the Shabbat Mitzvah, the world is actually running in an opposite way. Therefore, the world is trembling and moving, like we're seeing with our senses in these days. This is a bitter state. It's not only spiritually, but also materially. No need to speak about this at length, how bad it is. It's the power and capability to transform this situation to good. And so too, when inappropriate winds are blowing, Yid turns them over to clouds of heaven. That through these clouds of heaven, he will get quicker to the complete and true redemption. An example of this type of effect that a Yid is able to have, known in earlier times, and also too in our times. You can use a wind chime, a windmill, to be able to make energy to have enough light in the house. But the Gmosib and Nimshal, and a similar thing in the metaphor, all the negative and bitter things of exile, Haruchas are built to the Tzuyas, the negative winds, a person transformed to good. So, in other words, there's wind power, there's solar power. So the wind power from the negative winds can be transformed to good. But just the opposite. Specifically because the bitterness of Golus, it's in the capability to bring these powers from a concealed state to a revealed state. We should like we see in our senses, where there's no states of difficulty, then there's no possibility to reveal one's hidden and concealed powers. There's no one who to fight against. There's nothing but to transform. When Hashem placed the person in a state of a bitter exile, for a reason that its true reason is not known to us. Because in truth, all the projected ends of Golus was already past. And the time of Gula has already come. Still more Hashem delays us in Golus. So we use the final moments of Golus to transform the bitterness of Golus to good. The reason why there's things that seemingly are not pleasant. Not just only seemingly, but in truth they're not pleasant. Because they find themselves in the public domain, outside of a Jewish home. But it's the power of a Yid to go out to the street. Because since in the time of Golus, sometimes one has to go out into the street. To transform the public domain to a private domain. That also the street itself will cry out, Hashem is one, His name is one. From where does the power for this avodah come from? When you're going out to the public domain out of such a home, that the mainstay of the home made it into a Jewish home. Not just a home that Jews live in, a Jewish home. In such a way that the Jewishness in the home shines so powerfully, even when one leaves the home, not only is one not influenced from the outside, but just the opposite. Any place that someone from the household comes to that place, he illuminates the place. In other words, he's coming from a Jewish home into wherever, so he right away illuminates that place. All the Yidden that was light in their settlements, even when a Jew enters the house of an Egyptian, his entry to there illuminates the home. They can see the wealth that the Yidden take with them going out from the Golus to the Geula. We'll stop over here. Perhaps we'll continue this next Sunday.